13. Insanely rich. NBA players who live like average Joes. They're richer than CEOs, global icons with contracts worth hundreds of millions. Yet they shop with coupons, drive decade-old cars, and live like your next-door neighbor. These NBA superstars could drown in diamonds if they wanted, but instead, they choose the life of an average Joe. Why would the most powerful athletes on the planet reject the luxury they earned? What are they trying to protect, their money or their humanity? Today, we expose the surprising truth behind basketball's biggest millionaires who refuse to act rich. Before we dive in, hit subscribe to support Legends of Black Excellence, where real stories never hide. Kawhi Leonard. Among all NBA icons who could easily indulge in ultra-luxury lifestyles, Kawhi Leonard stands out as the most quietly grounded. Despite earning more than $300 million in career contracts and becoming a two-time Finals MVP, he lives with a level of simplicity that seems almost impossible for someone of his status. He rarely speaks publicly, avoids the spotlight, and prefers to blend into everyday life rather than behave like a global sports celebrity. People who meet him outside the arena often say he seems like a regular guy who just happens to be remarkably tall. His spending habits reflect a deep belief in practicality over prestige. The best example is his 1997 Chevrolet Tahoe, a car he bought as a teenager and still proudly drives. While other superstars cruise around in Lamborghinis and Rolls-Royces, Kawhi chooses a vehicle nearly old enough to vote. When a reporter once asked why he didn't upgrade, he delivered a classic answer: "It runs and it's paid off." That single line captures exactly who he is, a superstar utterly uninterested in material showing off. Much of Kawhi's humility is rooted in his past. Growing up in Compton, California, he learned early that safety and family mean more than possessions. At age 16, he suffered the devastating loss of his father, who was tragically killed while working at his car wash, a moment that shaped Leonard's relationship with money and life forever. Would you still choose a simple lifestyle if you had hundreds of millions of dollars? One of his most charming, frugal stories involves his love for Wingstop chicken wings. Unlike most brand ambassadors who treat endorsements like trophies, Kawhi actually uses the discount coupons they send him. Once, when he misplaced a coupon book, he contacted the company to request a replacement, a move that made fans love him even more. It's not about saving money. It's about never believing he deserves special treatment. Away from the court, Leonard shields his privacy like a priceless treasure. He avoids flashy parties, rarely appears on social media, and spends most of his time focused on family and health. Teammates often reveal that he's funnier and more talkative behind closed doors, but he chooses not to turn his personality into a performance. Peace matters more to him than publicity. In a league where status symbols, designer fashion, and mansions are practically part of the job description, Kawhi Leonard proves that greatness doesn't need glitter to shine. His lifestyle is a quiet declaration that success can be measured in peace of mind, not in price tags. That's why he remains the perfect example of an insanely rich NBA player who truly lives like an average Joe, a reminder that humility is the most valuable flex of all. Giannis Antetokounmpo. Giannis Antetokounmpo may be one of the most dominant forces basketball has ever seen, and his earnings reflect that. Forbes has ranked him among the world's highest-paid athletes, with annual income exceeding $90 million when combining salary and endorsements. His Supermax contracts with Milwaukee guarantee him well over $300 million in career earnings. Yet despite global superstardom, luxury sponsorships, and MVP trophies, Giannis still approaches his wealth with the heart of a man who remembers exactly what it felt like to have nothing. To him, being rich is not about spending big, it's about providing security for those he loves. One moment that perfectly captures Giannis's mindset occurred in New York when fans spotted him bargaining inside a discount store like any regular customer. Instead of a shopping spree at Fifth Avenue boutiques, he was comparing prices and joking about the cost of baby supplies. His teammates reveal that he wears the same outfits for years and prefers simple sneakers over high-end fashion. Even though he is the Bucks' franchise cornerstone and the face of international basketball, Giannis refuses to let wealth warp his values. Practicality defines every financial decision he makes. His frugality stems from a powerful and emotional past. Born to Nigerian immigrant parents living undocumented in Greece, Giannis and his brothers sold trinkets and knockoff goods on the streets of Athens to help their family survive. Some days they had to choose between food and transportation. Even after he entered the NBA, Giannis once wired so much of his rookie paycheck back home that he couldn't afford a taxi to the arena and had to run to the stadium. If you suddenly became a millionaire overnight, would you still think twice before buying something? When Giannis says money doesn't define happiness, he means it. His top priority has always been his parents and brothers, making sure they never struggle again. He has purchased homes for his family members, helped them secure opportunities in the U.S., and ensured they are always near him during the NBA season. While he rarely spends on himself, his generosity toward loved ones knows no limits. For Giannis, wealth becomes meaningful only when shared. Even as brand deals with companies like Nike and JBL skyrocket his net worth, Giannis chooses to live as though fame is temporary and humility is his true legacy. He avoids nightclub culture and prefers playing with his children at home to any celebrity event. Married to his longtime partner, Mariah Riddlespringer, he enjoys grocery shopping, cooking, and watching Netflix, ordinary joys that keep him grounded despite extraordinary success. In a league often dazzled by luxury, Giannis Antetokounmpo stands apart as a global superstar who chooses the uncomplicated route. His story proves that money can change your life, but doesn't have to change your character. Giannis plays like a king on the court, but off the court, he remains a humble son, brother, husband, and father, a living reminder that the richest hearts are the ones that never forget where they came from. Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler's rise to wealth and fame feels like something written for Hollywood, yet his lifestyle remains surprisingly unfiltered and grounded. Today, his career earnings exceed hundreds of millions of dollars when combining NBA contracts, endorsements, and business ventures. Yet while many assume a superstar of his caliber lives surrounded by luxury fleets and designer closets, Butler chooses function, comfort, and authenticity. His favorite ride: a practical Toyota minivan, something more common in suburban school parking lots than an NBA arena. It's not a gimmick. It reflects a mindset: I only need what works. Even at the height of his fame, Butler laughs off the idea that he should spend money just to impress people. His frugal personality reaches hilarious heights when it comes to coffee. During the 2020 NBA bubble, while other players complained about boredom and strict rules, Butler transformed his hotel coffee setup into a business. Charging teammates $20 a cup whether they liked it or not, he turned Big Face Coffee into a profitable, fully established brand later on. Today, it's a real cafe in Miami and a growing venture that reflects his belief in hustle over hype. That funny moment showed exactly who Butler is: clever, resourceful, and never too proud to make money the old-fashioned way. Butler's practicality isn't just about saving money. It's deeply tied to survival. Kicked out of his house at age 13 in Tomball, Texas, he spent nights drifting from couch to couch, unsure where his next meal would come from. Eventually, the Lambert family took him in, giving him a chance to chase both stability and basketball. That experience shaped him into a believer in discipline and priorities. Security, first ego, nowhere in sight. Even after becoming a six-time All-Star, Butler still makes down-to-earth financial decisions that would surprise many. There's a viral video of him complaining about gas prices at a pump, joking about whether he could return the gas for a refund because it was too expensive. Those relatable reactions are exactly why his fans love him. He treats money seriously because he remembers a life when every dollar mattered. He once turned off his TV and internet to avoid distractions while he trained, demonstrating that focus, not fame, drives him. Beyond the humor and the grind, Butler invests with intention. Instead of chasing flashy deals, he focuses on ventures connected to his passions: pedal tennis investments, coffee entrepreneurship, real estate opportunities, and maintains long-term patience. He is strategic, not impulsive. For Butler, financial success is a tool to provide comfort for his daughter, support for his circle, and preparation for a future where basketball isn't guaranteed. Jimmy Butler is proof that the American dream does not require a personality transformation. He escaped homelessness, became a global star, built legitimate businesses, and yet still lives with the perspective of someone who knows exactly what it takes to climb from rock bottom. Among the 13 insanely rich NBA players who live like average Joes, he may be the one who understands better than anyone why humility is the greatest wealth a person can carry. Jrue Holiday. Jrue Holiday is one of the NBA's most respected champions, a multiple-time All-Star and a defensive force whose career earnings surpass $250 million across stints with the 76ers, Pelicans, Bucks, and Celtics. Yet despite having enough wealth to live like royalty, Holiday chooses a life defined by generosity, responsibility, and surprising simplicity. He is not driven by flash or ego. Instead, his success has become a platform for something bigger than basketball or personal gain. While many stars measure their value in possessions, Jrue measures his in impact. What makes Holiday special is not just that he gives, but how much he gives. In 2020, while most players were focused on navigating the complexities of the NBA bubble, Holiday and his wife Lauren, a retired U.S. soccer star, made a groundbreaking decision. They donated his entire season salary, over $5 million, to launch initiatives supporting Black-owned businesses, education, and social equity programs. It became one of the largest charitable contributions by an active athlete in league history. And it wasn't a PR move. It was a reflection of their values, strengthened by personal challenges and faith. Holiday grew up in a disciplined and loving family in California, where parents Toya and Sean, both former athletes, taught their children that humility and purpose are just as important as talent. That foundation only deepened when Lauren faced a life-threatening brain tumor shortly after giving birth to their first daughter in 2016. Jrue stepped away from basketball to care for his wife, showing how family always comes first in his priorities. His approach to wealth is strikingly modest. He avoids overspending, keeps his lifestyle grounded, and views money not as a symbol of status, but as a resource to uplift others. Through the Jrue and Lauren Holiday Social Impact Fund, he has provided millions in grants to entrepreneurs and community leaders across the U.S. He also advocates for mental health support, youth programs, and food security issues often overlooked in the spotlight of professional sports. Holiday's teammates praise him for having a calm presence off the court, someone who prefers quiet moments at home over red carpet attention. He is known to cook, relax with his children, and stay close to his tight-knit family rather than chasing exotic vacations or endless parties. His values mirror the kind of leader who inspires not by noise, but by example. When younger players seek guidance on how to handle sudden wealth, Jrue offers the blueprint: spend wisely, give purposefully, and never forget where you came from. Among the 13 insanely rich NBA players who live like average Joes, Jrue Holiday proves that the most powerful flex isn't what you own, it's how generously you share it. His career shines with championships and accolades, but his legacy stretches far beyond basketball arenas. Holiday reminds the world that prosperity becomes truly meaningful when it's multiplied through compassion, community, and selfless heart. Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant is one of the most gifted scorers in NBA history, a billionaire-tier athlete whose business empire reaches far beyond the court. With career earnings surpassing $450 million in NBA contracts alone, and a portfolio packed with tech investments, esports, sports franchises, and media ventures, Durant could easily embody the flashy celebrity lifestyle. Yet his true habits paint a different picture. KD prefers peace over paparazzi, comfort over clout, substance over style. He's not chasing the loudest room, he's chasing the most authentic version of himself. One of the most unique things about Durant is how detached he is from the typical celebrity social scene. Instead of luxury yachts and constant parties, his free time is often spent playing video games, streaming basketball conversations, or hanging out with a small circle of trusted friends. While others chase fame, Durant chases genuine happiness, and that usually looks quiet and ordinary. His desire to live low profile is so strong that many fans only see him as the fiery competitor on the court, not the calm introvert who enjoys late-night gaming sessions like any regular person unwinding after work. KD's upbringing explains much of his grounded behavior. Raised in Prince George's County, Maryland by a single mother, Wanda Pratt, he grew up moving between modest neighborhoods, learning early that success requires sacrifice, not spectacle. As a teenager, he wasn't surrounded by luxury gyms or five-star training centers, just hard work and a dream to lift his family into a better life. Fame didn't turn him into someone new. It elevated the principles that were already driving him. When it comes to spending, Durant is calculated. Yes, he enjoys high-end sneakers and quality essentials, but he's known for keeping his personal life free of excessive purchases or vanity addictions. His biggest splurges. Investments in the future, both for himself and for the athletes he mentors through his business network, like through the ventures supporting youth sports and athlete-led companies. He'd rather invest in equity than expensive jewelry that loses value the moment it's worn. Durant rarely reveals this side publicly because he has no interest in convincing anyone that he's humble. He simply is. He values privacy and emotional clarity, which is why he avoids media distractions and keeps his relationships largely outside the spotlight. He embraces minimalism when it comes to lifestyle, allowing him to focus on training routines, mental recovery, and growth beyond basketball. For a player with global influence and generational wealth, Kevin Durant remains shockingly and refreshingly ordinary when the cameras turn off. No fleet of custom luxury cars, no consistent presence on celebrity tabloid pages, just a man who loves the game, cherishes stillness, and trusts that wealth is a tool, not a personality. Among the 13 insanely rich NBA players who live like average Joes, Durant proves that true greatness doesn't need applause to be real, and that sometimes the quietest lifestyles belong to the loudest legacies. Carmelo Anthony. Carmelo Anthony built a legendary career across Denver, New York, Portland, and Los Angeles, one that earned him more than $262 million in NBA salary, plus millions more in endorsements and entrepreneurial ventures. He became one of the most well-paid scorers of his generation, a 10-time All-Star and a cultural icon whose name is known across the world. Yet the Melo behind the fame still carries the quiet instincts of the kid who once had to count every dollar. Even with wealth that could buy extravagant lifestyles without a second thought, he remains committed to living below his means, a choice that continues to surprise many fans. One of Carmelo's most relatable habits is his passion for smart spending. Rather than dropping money impulsively, he still uses coupons, shops for everyday deals, and avoids unnecessary financial waste. This isn't about being cheap, it's about staying true to where he comes from. Melo has made it clear in interviews that discipline is a lifestyle, not something you throw away just because fortune arrives. He even admits he's proud of knowing prices, choosing discounts, and never falling into the trap of believing he must act rich simply to prove success. Anthony's mindset was forged in the realities of life in West Baltimore, where his journey began after his mother relocated the family from Brooklyn. Raised in a neighborhood surrounded by danger and limited opportunities, Melo saw firsthand how quickly money could disappear and how critical it was to protect it. His father passed away when he was just 2 years old, leaving his mother Mary to raise him and his siblings alone. That foundation of struggle taught him early that survival requires smart decisions, not spontaneous indulgence. Even during his NBA peak, Anthony repeatedly emphasized long-term planning. Instead of chasing bling, he invested in tech wine and media production businesses designed to grow over time, not just look glamorous to outsiders. His brand ventures like Mellow 7 Tech Partners, the Seventh Estate wine label, and Creative 7 Media reflect a future-focused approach build assets that endure beyond the final buzzer. He takes far more pride in generating jobs and opportunities than in proving style through expensive toys. Mello's heart also remains anchored to philanthropy. Through the Carmelo Anthony Foundation, launched in 2005, he's provided educational resources, community programs, and hunger relief for thousands of families in need. His ongoing work with youth in Baltimore and Syracuse shows that he's not only saving money, he's redirecting wealth toward those who struggle just as he once did. Generosity, not extravagance, defines his relationship with financial success. Though retired, Carmelo Anthony continues to live with humility and careful balance. There are no headlines about wasteful spending or celebrity excess, just a man who understands that fame is temporary, but financial wisdom lasts forever. Among the 13 insanely rich NBA players who live like average Joes, Melo shines as the example of someone who reached the top and still remembers every step of the climb. His legacy is more than basketball. It's a blueprint for how to stay grounded when the world expects you to float away. Trey Burke. Trey Burke may not have the global fame or massive shoe deals of the NBA's biggest superstars, but his financial discipline makes him one of the most fascinating names on this list. Over his decade-long career with teams like the Utah Jazz, New York Knicks, Dallas Mavericks, and Philadelphia 76ers, Burke earned more than $25 million in NBA salary, a fortune compared to ordinary standards. Yet instead of falling into the traps that end so many athletic careers in regret, he built a life anchored by restraint, responsibility, and long-term planning. His approach proves that living like an average Joe isn't just about modest spending, it's about understanding the true value of money. When Burke entered the league as a highly drafted point guard out of Michigan, he could have easily indulged in flashy cars, designer wardrobes, and reckless nights out. Many rookies do. But Burke had a rare awareness of how quickly fortunes disappear. In his very first year, despite earning over $4 million, he set himself a strict $5,000 monthly spending budget. That decision instantly separated him from the stereotype of the young player who lets wealth transform him. Financial advisors helped him direct nearly everything else into savings and investments. Future, first, ego last. Burke's commitment to discipline has everything to do with where he came from. Growing up in Columbus, Ohio, he was raised by parents who preached respect, accountability, and the importance of building a foundation that lasts longer than a basketball career. He played travel ball under his father's guidance and learned to appreciate every opportunity rather than assume the next one would come easily. Even as Burke bounced between NBA cities and later explored international opportunities, including time in the G League and overseas leagues, he continued practicing the same conservative financial mindset. He chose family stability over headlines, privacy over lifestyle inflation. He married his high school sweetheart and kept his circle tight, ensuring that the people around him were those who cared about Trey the person, not Trey the NBA player. As the years progressed, Burke expanded his financial strategies. He invested in family-managed business decisions, keeping earnings close to home rather than trusting strangers with his generational wealth. Whether his role increased or decreased on the court, his financial goals never changed: protect what he earned and build a life that remains secure long after the spotlight fades. That perspective is increasingly rare in professional sports, where careers can end overnight, and visibility often pressures athletes into unhealthy spending just to keep up appearances. While many might overlook Trey Burke in a conversation about the richest players, his story belongs at the heart of this list. He embodies what it means to live modestly, despite having more than enough to be extravagant. Among the 13 insanely rich NBA players who live like average Joes, Burke stands as the perfect example that intelligence, not income, determines whether wealth becomes a blessing or a burden. His choices remind young athletes everywhere: greatness isn't only measured by points scored, but by the future you protect with the money you earn. Tim Duncan. Tim Duncan's story is proof that humility and greatness can coexist at the highest level. Over 19 seasons with the San Antonio Spurs, he earned more than $240 million in salary and built a net worth that ranges between $100 and $150 million. Yet, in an era defined by flash, Duncan lived like a man who had nothing to prove. He quietly took pay cuts so the team could stay competitive and often drove himself to practice in an aging Porsche instead of the exotic cars many teammates favored. To the fans who saw him grocery shopping at Costco, the big fundamental wasn't just a nickname, it was a way of life. Even as the spotlight chased him, Duncan moved through fame with monk-like calm. He never chased endorsement hype or high-fashion visibility. When his Spurs teammates filmed local commercials for a Texas grocery chain, it wasn't about celebrity branding, it was just Tim being part of the community. He preferred silence to self-promotion strategy sessions to champagne celebrations. The more successful he became, the simpler he seemed to live. That modesty began on the island of St. Croix in the U.S. Virgin Islands, where Duncan grew up in a humble home with 3 siblings. His father worked as a mason, his mother was a midwife. When Hurricane Hugo destroyed the island's Olympic swimming pool in 1989, Duncan's dream of becoming a swimmer ended overnight and basketball entered his life. But when his mother died from breast cancer the day before his 14th birthday, her final wish stayed with him: get an education before anything else. He later fulfilled that promise, earning a psychology degree at Wake Forest before joining the NBA. Would you still stay humble if your talent made you one of the greatest ever? Despite decades of superstardom, Duncan never became consumed by wealth. He dressed plainly, favored quiet family dinners, and treated every paycheck as a responsibility, not a license to splurge. When investment advisors later mishandled his money, he didn't retaliate publicly or spiral into lavish spending to compensate. He simply tightened control and kept living modestly. His reaction revealed not bitterness, but discipline. Even after retirement, Duncan's lifestyle remains minimalist. He spends time restoring cars, mentoring players, and volunteering in San Antonio. His foundation funds youth programs in the Virgin Islands, and his philanthropy remains low-key, often unpublicized, until beneficiaries share their stories. For Duncan, success has never been about headlines. It's been about quiet impact, consistency, and integrity. Among the 13 insanely rich NBA players who live like average Joes, Tim Duncan stands as the quiet conscience of basketball. No chains, no drama, no need to prove anything, just greatness expressed through steadiness. He reminds the world that true wealth isn't measured by the houses you own, but by the peace you carry within them. Nikola Jokic. Nikola Jokic is one of the most dominant players the NBA has ever witnessed, a multiple-time MVP and NBA champion, and one of the highest-earning athletes in basketball. His Supermax contract guarantees him over $270 million, with a player option reaching more than $62 million in a single season. Yet if you followed him around off the court, you would never guess he is a global superstar. There are no personal security entourages, no flashy sports cars lined up in a private garage. Instead, you'd find a man who looks more like a laid-back neighbor heading to run errands than the best center of his generation. Jokic's lifestyle remains astonishingly ordinary for someone whose talent has rewritten NBA history books. While many players spend summers touring fashion capitals or appearing at luxury brand events, he flies straight home to Sombor, Serbia, not to celebrate like royalty, but to calmly slip back into the quiet routines of small-town life. There, he wakes up early, visits neighbors, and stops by local cafes where people treat him simply as Nixa, not as a sports icon. His idea of luxury isn't penthouses or private jets. It's the freedom to disappear into normalcy. Perhaps the most charming element of Jokic's personality is his obsession with horse racing. He owns and trains harness racing horses, spending countless hours in stables rather than VIP sections of nightclubs. The joy on his face after a horse race often outshines his reaction to winning an NBA game. It's a reminder that his career is just one part of his identity, not a status badge he wears everywhere. Growing up in a tight family of 5 inside a small 2-bedroom apartment, Jokic learned early that happiness is built on togetherness, not money. His 2 older brothers Strahinja and Nemanja still live with him in Denver during the season, a rare choice for a superstar. Their bond is his grounding force. Family dinners, card games, storytelling, and laughter are the highlights of his evenings, not nightlife outings or shopping sprees. Even his relationship with fame is unique. Jokic rarely posts on social media, avoids fashion headlines, and has little interest in becoming a marketable celebrity brand. He often reacts to personal accolades with the same calm smile, as if he genuinely does not see himself as someone special. When asked what excites him most about winning a championship, he famously shrugged and said he just wanted to go home, a statement that instantly turned into a global meme highlighting his beautifully simple mindset. Among the 13 insanely rich NBA players who live like average Joes, Nikola Jokic may be the purest example of someone whose life is completely unchanged by fame. Basketball is his occupation, not his identity. Wealth is a tool, not a trophy. And home will always be a small town in Serbia where horses, not highlight reels, bring the loudest cheers. In a world obsessed with status, Jokic reminds us that true greatness needs no spotlight, only purpose and peace. Stephen Curry. Stephen Curry is undeniably one of the most influential athletes of his generation, with a career that has reshaped how basketball is played and how its stars manage their wealth. With a net worth between $240 million and annual earnings that exceed $59.6 million from his NBA contract, not including endorsement deals with Under Armour, Curry could easily live a life of opulence surrounded by luxury cars, private jets, and 5-star experiences. Yet in a world where athletes flaunt their wealth, Curry has quietly embraced a grounded family-first lifestyle that defies the stereotypes of NBA superstardom. At his core, Curry has always been about balance. Despite living in the wealthiest zip code in America, Atherton, California, where his $30 or $31 million mansion is located, Curry's daily life contrasts sharply with what you'd expect from someone with his financial freedom. He is often seen biking around town, enjoying simple family outings, and emphasizing family life over the glitzy distractions of fame. When asked about his wealth, Curry describes himself as frugal, not because he doesn't enjoy the fruits of his success, but because he finds fulfillment in life's simple pleasures, like spending time with his wife Aisha and their children. His approach to money isn't about collecting material possessions. It's about investing in meaningful ventures that will have a long-lasting impact. Through his foundation, Eat, Learn, Play, Curry has committed over $50 million to Oakland schools for literacy programs, nutrition initiatives, and play spaces for children. This isn't just philanthropy for the sake of public image. It reflects his genuine belief that true wealth lies in creating opportunities for others, especially those from underprivileged backgrounds. Even his investments reflect a practical mindset. Instead of spending extravagantly on luxury goods, Curry focuses on long-term wealth through his venture capital investments in tech media and consumer products. Through his partnership with Under Armour, Curry not only pushed his personal brand but also helped redefine the way athletes can build business empires. His Curry brand, for example, is a multi-million-dollar venture that generates hundreds of millions in annual sales, but he still prefers a simple, no-frills approach to his day-to-day lifestyle. While Curry's luxurious mansion may seem extravagant by most standards, it's clear that he doesn't measure success by the size of his home or the car in his driveway. His mansion, though lavish, is a reflection of comfort rather than status, a place for family to grow, create memories, and stay connected. He and Aisha are known for hosting family gatherings, cooking together, and prioritizing normal family moments over extravagant events that so often consume the lives of other celebrities. Stephen Curry's legacy will undoubtedly be defined by his success on the basketball court, But it's his approach to life, simple, thoughtful, and grounded, that truly sets him apart from his peers. As one of the 13 insanely rich NBA players who live like average Joe's, Curry proves that wealth doesn't need to come with a loud, attention-grabbing lifestyle. True wealth lies in peace of mind, meaningful investments, and the bonds that money can create, not just the things it can buy. Andrew Bogut. Andrew Bogut may not be the first name that comes to mind when thinking of NBA wealth, but his approach to money is as disciplined and thoughtful as any star in the league. Over his 14-season career, which included a championship with the Golden State Warriors, Bogut earned more than $118 million in salary, with additional gains from endorsements and investments. Despite this substantial fortune, he's one of the NBA's most frugal players, living a life where financial discipline is paramount. His success hasn't led him to live a life of extravagance, but to carefully protect his wealth for the future. What makes Bogut stand out is his commitment to learning about finances. In 2014, after realizing that he didn't understand his own money, he enrolled in an online personal finance course. This was an unorthodox move for an NBA player, but it reflected his desire to ensure that his wealth didn't slip away due to poor decisions. He spent time understanding his spending habits, investments, and how to manage his money in a way that would benefit him long after his playing days ended. Even after earning a career-high salary of $60 million during his time with the Milwaukee Bucks, Bogut remained incredibly modest in his spending. He was known to track his daily expenses in a spreadsheet, keeping tabs on everything from his coffee purchases to larger expenditures. Instead of showing off his wealth, he preferred to save it, knowing that it would set him up for a secure future. This meticulous attention to detail set him apart from many of his peers who were caught up in the flashy trappings of professional basketball. Would you take the time to understand your finances like Bogut? Even if you made millions, Bogut's frugality wasn't about deprivation. It was about being wise with his resources. He didn't indulge in flashy cars, private jets, or luxury real estate. Instead, he focused on long-term investments, making smart choices in real estate, tech startups, and other ventures that would provide for his future. His portfolio includes stakes in Cloud9, an esports company, and PillPack, a startup acquired by Amazon, as well as several Australian startups. These investments reflect a focus on sustainable wealth building that will last far beyond his basketball career. As a result, when Bogut retired from the NBA in 2019, he was in a position to continue working without the need for constant financial worry. He didn't rush into another career or public persona. Instead, he took the time to figure out his next steps in life. His post-retirement career included stints as an assistant coach for the Sydney Kings and a sports media personality in Australia, where his calm, calculated approach to life became an example for others. Bogut's story proves that the smartest athletes aren't always those with the loudest spending habits. They're the ones who make calculated decisions early on, taking the long view when it comes to their wealth. Among the 13 insanely rich NBA players who live like average Joe's, Andrew Bogut stands as a model of financial discipline, proving that the true value of wealth is found in how you manage it, not how you spend it. David West. David West is a name synonymous with toughness, leadership, and principled decision-making. Over a 15-season career with New Orleans, Indiana, San Antonio, and Golden State, West earned more than $92 million in NBA salary alone, more than enough to fund a luxurious life forever. Yet what truly separates him from many wealthy athletes is how he chose to use and not use his money. Rather than chasing maximum contracts and glamorous rewards, West consistently pursued purpose, impact, and team success above financial comfort. His defining moment came in 2015. West was still an elite player with the Indiana Pacers and had a guaranteed contract worth $12.6 million waiting for him. Instead of accepting it, he shockingly opted out and signed a veteran minimum deal with San Antonio, sacrificing more than $11 million in a single decision. The message was loud and clear: winning, and meaning mattered more than money. The following year, he doubled down again, taking a minimum deal, this time with the Golden State Warriors. and walked away with 2 championships, proving that fulfillment does not always come from the highest paycheck. West's commitment to values was shaped long before basketball fame. Born in Teaneck, New Jersey, and raised in a blue-collar household, he was taught early that character outweighs status. He attended Xavier University, where he excelled academically while becoming one of college basketball's most decorated players. His education in communications sharpened his awareness of social responsibility, a theme that would define his adulthood. Beyond the court, West has become a passionate advocate for social justice and community empowerment. He has invested in socially driven companies like Zoetic Global, which focuses on sustainable energy solutions in Africa, and has supported programs dedicated to education, youth athletics, and poverty reduction. He doesn't send donations for applause. Most of his philanthropy only becomes public when communities share how he helped them. Even during his NBA playing career, West was known for speaking out against inequality, corruption, and systems that harm underserved populations. Many athletes shy away from controversial topics to protect endorsements or image. West embraced them, understanding that silence is also a choice. He often challenged teammates to invest in others and to think beyond fame, planting seeds of awareness throughout locker rooms across the league. Today, West continues to live humbly without the ego or excess often associated with former stars. He prioritizes time with family, mentoring younger players, and staying active in social progress initiatives. While some athletes define legacy by highlights and trophies, West views his through the lens of lives uplifted, barriers challenged, and principles upheld. Among the 13 insanely rich NBA players who live like average Joes, David West stands uniquely tall proof that true wealth isn't measured in dollars earned, but in the courage to use them for something bigger than yourself. Derrick Rose. Derrick Rose's story is one of the most unforgettable arcs in modern sports. A hometown hero who rose from Chicago's toughest streets to become the youngest MVP in NBA history. Over a career that has earned him more than $166 million in salary alone, Rose could easily lean into the luxurious lifestyle that fame provides. Yet instead, he has maintained a connection to the humble and gritty roots that shaped him. Even at the pinnacle of his career, when Chicago embraced him as their savior and Adidas offered him a lifetime deal, Rose chose to keep his personal life low profile and focused on what truly matters: family, privacy, and peace. Growing up in Chicago's Englewood neighborhood, Rose learned the value of resilience early. Raised by his mother, Brenda, he lived in a community where opportunities were few and violence was constant. Basketball wasn't just a sport, it was a lifeline. When he entered the NBA, he carried that survival mentality with him. Despite sudden wealth and worldwide recognition, he never embraced the flashy lifestyle. You wouldn't find Derrick in the tabloids flashing extravagant purchases or flaunting jewelry to outshine teammates. Instead, he quietly put his success toward protecting his loved ones and securing their future. His hardest challenge came not from the streets, but from his own body. After his MVP explosion in 2011, major injuries derailed the superstardom that seemed inevitable. Many expected his confidence and spirit to crumble. But Rose found strength in simplicity, showing up, working in silence, and appreciating the small joys life still offered. Rather than chasing publicity about his recovery, Rose leaned deeper into his private nature training outside the spotlight, letting his actions speak. Even when returning to stardom with the Knicks and Timberwolves later in his career, he avoided the noise. His most emotional moment came in 2018 when he scored 50 points against Utah, tears streaming as the arena roared. But the celebration that followed wasn't at a nightclub. It was in the quiet comfort of friends and family, a reminder that the scoreboard never defined who he is. Off the court, Rose has invested in community initiatives, supported Chicago youth programs, and contributed privately to causes meaningful to him, often without press releases or personal branding involved. He believes charity doesn't need cameras. At home, he keeps life simple and grounded, Fans frequently see him around Chicago, blending in like any other neighbor, running errands, sharing laughter at local businesses, or simply being a dad who puts his children above the world's attention. Among the 13 insanely rich NBA players who live like average Joe's, Derrick Rose represents the power of humility through both victory and adversity. He had every reason to chase luxury and global fame, but chose to protect his peace instead. From Englewood to NBA arenas, and back again. Rose has never forgotten who he is or where he comes from. He reminds us that even the brightest stars can shine quietly, and sometimes that's the kind of greatness that lasts forever. Even after earning fortunes that most people can only dream of, these 13 NBA superstars prove that humility can rise higher than any spending spree. From Kawhi's old Tahoe to Jokic's quiet life in Serbia, their choices challenge what success is supposed to look like in modern sports. Maybe real greatness isn't measured by luxury, but by staying true to who you are even when the world expects excess. Do you think money should change the way a champion lives? Comment your thoughts below and subscribe for more powerful stories from Legends of Black Excellence. The truth behind the legends continues.